Episode 65, All the Everything Podcast. I'm Billy. That's Tim.
Me.
Tim, what is going
Hi.
on, my man?
Oh, so we're recording on a Friday because we're
Yes.
doubling up some recordings since I'm actually in town and, to stay on top of things for y'all.
hmm
Um, and what's going on here, it's kind of a little crazy. We have this massive winter storm that's coming across basically the whole country, right, Billy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think originally, you were supposed to get some freezing ice or
Ice.
freezing rain or ice or something, and that would
Ice.
have
Oh,
been horrible for you guys, right?
yes. Alabama does not do ice well. And so yeah, it was supposed to hit right over us, and then it just shifted at the last minute a little bit north of us. And
Hmm.
so thankfully, no, I think we're getting cold rain. But it could
Okay.
change between now and then. Who knows? Because the weather is
Yeah.
weather. But I
Yeah.
think hopefully we're just getting cold rain all weekend long. But yeah, how many
Yeah.
inches of snow are y'all getting?
So I was just looking before we got on here, and we are currently scheduled between 8 and 12 inches of snow,
No
which is
kidding.
crazy. We never get that big of snow. I say that, but we actually did have a bigger snow not too long ago where we got like 7 inches of snow. So who
Wow.
knows?
Wow.
Yeah, this has been a lot of snow for this winter. We don't always get it. It's very inconsistent here, in terms of what we get. So
Yeah, we usually get like a really good snow every couple of years. Just one, couple of inches to cover, go take some really fun pictures outside for like 20 minutes and then build a snowman and then come back in. That's usually like Alabama. But I'll tell you what, like a couple of years ago, it's been a little bit longer than that now. We had
yeah.
this unexpected ice storm, and so many people got caught in it, like trying to get home from work, and then just had to
Oh
abandon their
no.
cars on the interstate. Like Alabama doesn't do well, and so
Right.
one of my buddies had to get his baby out and carry the baby, walk
Oh
home from
no.
the interstate from where they got
My
stuck.
God.
It's insane, and there was so many people that happened to, and
Oh my God.
oh man, I
That's
hate ice.
crazy.
Hate
Yeah,
ice.
ice is a scary thing. It's so scary. Snow, it's not fun to drive in. It's very slippery and stuff. But that ice, that's like the next level of danger right there.
When my grandpa had passed away,
Yeah.
we were driving up to Tennessee for the funeral. It was me, Michelle, and my sister, and we were in Birmingham, and we hit a bridge, and that ice I started to fishtail. And I'm like, oh my
Oh,
God. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the bridge, I see people standing in the middle of the bridge, in the middle of
what?
the interstate, because they had just lost control and spun out and got out of their cars. Thank the Lord I was able to correct it and go right around them. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
would have just gone. It was horrifying. That was one of the worst drives of my life. It should have took like
Yeah.
3 hours, and we were on the road for 9 hours, and I
Oh
didn't
my
fill up
gosh.
gas before we left, and I was like praying to
Billy,
God, like
Billy,
on
Billy.
fumes, like coasting into the gas station once we finally got there. Oh,
Oh, that's so
it was
scary.
horrible,
Well, that's one of
but
the
we
number one
made
things
it.
they say. They say don't get out of your car. People
Yeah,
always feel like,
don't.
oh, if I'm in my car, like no, because that's when a lot of people get injured because
Yes, yes.
cars like you come down and
Mhm.
slide, and people get really, really hurt doing that kind of thing. So
It's scary. It's scary, but I don't like winter weather. I mean, I like it when we're home and we don't
yeah.
ha we have bread and milk, because that's the first thing that goes. Our shelves are empty. There is no bread in Alabama. James Spann says ice or snow, you should buy stock in bread and ice, bread and milk
Milk and ice.
and
But
ice.
while you're at
Yeah,
it, just invest in
yeah,
ice as well.
just buy all the stocks. Golly, but yeah, empty.
Yeah.
Shelves are empty, but we
I
have
went
we have bread.
You have bread. And here's the thing, then once you have bread, then no one ever uses it. They're like, "What do you want on bread?" "I
Exactly.
don't know. Let's have some chicken finger." Like, "Well, I beat up an old lady for this loaf of bread."
That's right. You
Uh,
should have seen me
and
like
now
mosh pit and trying to get some
"Now you don't want
bread.
it? Eat the
Had to
bread."
throw an elbow.
Yeah. I actually went to the store yesterday, and it was so crowded, but they had plenty of food. So,
Good. Well, y'all
um,
aren't rookies when it comes to winter weather. This is just a normal day for y'all up
that's
there in
true, but still
Ohio.
people freak out and still go
Oh,
buy a bunch of stuff. I think I did buy some bread. Yeah, I did buy I didn't buy milk, though. and there was
Yeah.
plenty of eggs. And I didn't, you know what I did notice though? I noticed that like the red meat part of like the butcher area was kind of sparse.
Oh,
I don't know why red meat. There was tons of chicken because that's what I was looking for anyhow. Getting some boneless chicken breast, tons of that stuff, and it wasn't like it was all gone, but
right.
there were some spots that were missing pretty big chunks of like red meat stuff. So don't
Oh,
know what
dude.
that was about. Maybe people wanted to make chili for the weekend. I don't know.
Oh, chili sounds
Uh,
awesome.
you know what? I thought for sure when I went to the store I was gonna buy stuff to make a chili this weekend. It's like because we're gonna be here all weekend. It's gonna be cold and
Yes.
freezing and and I went around the corner because Leslie wanted some tomato soup to do like grilled cheese and soup.
Yes, that's also
And
good.
yeah, I know. Like I'm so hungry right now. I didn't even have anything to eat. I'm sure you're starving as well.
Yes.
Sorry. But what I found on the shelf was 2 cans, not just 2 cans, but I got 2 cans of Wendy's chili. And I love chili from Wendy's. That's like one of my favorite ones to get.
Mhm.
So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to buy everything to make a chili. I'm just going to heat up some Wendy's chili in the microwave and call it a day. So, well, I mean,
Hey,
why not, right?
why not? Do what you gotta do, huh?
Yeah. Another crazy thing about the weather, though, Billy, it's like the intense cold weather that's going to be here for the entire next week. I mean, every day it's in negatives, like negative 15, 18, 10, like all day long,
Mhm.
especially in the early mornings. We have some mornings that coming up for like when kids would be out at the bus stop where it's
Yes.
literally like negative 24, negative 26. And that goes for like all of next weekend. So that's
That's
going to be
insane.
another thing that's going to be crazy here as well. So the snow's going to come, the ice is going to come or whatever. And then it's going to be like Arctic freezing cold weather. So
Yep, and I still have to tell my girls, "Go put on pants. You can't wear shorts to school."
oh my gosh.
You can't, and they're like, "But we're not going outside." I was like, "I cannot send you to school in shorts and have
Yes.
everybody judge me because
Yeah.
it's cold outside. Come on now, go put pants on."
Come on, girls. Don't make me look bad.
Golly. Yeah.
That doesn't even register with me when you're like, put shorts on. Like, why would you wear shorts right now? Well, because you live in
Kids.
Alabama. So,
Kids, yeah.
and kids. Yeah. And so actually some of the school, Lauren just left this morning to go back up to Miami University
Oh.
for her final senior semester. I know. I was so
Oh
sad.
my
I didn't want her
gosh.
to go. I was so bummed. Like asked Leslie this morning before like Lauren came down. I'm like, do you think if I offered her $100 she would stay? And she goes, I don't think so. So
I don't
Lauren came down and I was like, what about 500? She goes, nope, that wouldn't do it.
mm.
I was like, well, good because you called my bluff. I don't have $500 in cash laying around anyhow. So if I did, I would have bribed you. No,
Yep,
but we
yep.
just love when she's here so much. So we're gonna miss her being gone. But this is it. This is her
This is the
final
last
footsteps to
semester.
graduation. Like so, when I went upstairs because you guys don't know, I couldn't find literally my glasses that I'm wearing on my face. I looked everywhere for them. I went upstairs to get them, and Leslie told me that they had already canceled school for Monday for
Oh, dang.
college. So, but she had to get back up there before the weather, anyhow.
It's
So
better, yeah, get her there safely before the weather, and then, yes, 100%.
so she'll
100%.
be snowed in all weekend with her roommates in their house. It's their final time together and stuff. So,
That's right.
bunch of final things. So it's
Golly,
it's weird. A little,
it's a season.
it's a season, but I'm excited for it because I know when she graduates, she's gonna have a job in the travel industry.
Yes,
Um, yeah, so I won't reveal what that is yet until she tells
until
me I
it's
can.
time,
But
until
yeah,
it's time. But
until
I
it's
know too.
but Billy know well,
I
Billy's my
know.
bestie, so he's got to know everything. You can't deny your
Yeah.
bestie, all the details.
That's right, that's right.
But we've got a really good episode today, and
Yes.
I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. Well, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. Are you ready, my friend?
You better believe it. Let's get into all the everything, y'all.
All the everything, we've got it all. We've got it all, small, weird, or tall. So grab your snacks, sit back, don't stress. Cause Tim and Billy talk about the randomness. From ancient Rome to UFOs, we'll take you where the weirdness goes. It's two guys talking way too loud about stuff that makes no sense, but we're kinda proud. Welcome to the madness.
Well, welcome back to yet another amazing episode of All the Everything Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Tim Sawhook, And I'm joined by my best friend, the best tea that we talked about earlier, Billy Parchment, everybody.
What's up? What's going on?
Oh, Billy, we've got such a fun episode today, and we've done this
Yes,
before. So, without me giving away any of the secrets, this is your time to spill the tea. What are we talking
that's
about
right.
today, my friend?
Oh, this one is one of my favorites. It was from season one. This actually made my top 5 episodes. We're
Yes.
doing the history of dot 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 part 2. So
Ooh.
Tim and I are gonna each have a couple of different subjects that we're gonna share the different histories of the
Yep.
journeys, if you will, of whatever we're talking about. But yeah, it's one of those that I really enjoyed last time, and I'm really excited. I don't have no idea
Yeah.
what Tim's talking about, but the 2 things that I'm talking about, I love. So I'm
I
super
know
excited
his
about.
because I had to ask him ahead of time what was he doing. Because I didn't want to. We hardly ever overlap that many things and stories unless we're like recounting a show we liked or something. But I wanted to make sure. So,
Mhm.
and if anybody listened to the first history of mine, were pretty messed up stories. Holes in the head, the dancing plague until everyone danced till they died. So I'm going to tell you ahead of time. These are going to be a little less uh, harsh for me.
Yeah, I think Leslie gave him such a hard time because she's like, Billy did the history of Coca-Cola and Fred
Mr.
Rogers, Mr.
Rogers.
Rogers, and Tim did holes in your head, which I
I
love
forgot
though.
about that. But yeah, it was just really funny. So this time I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can find something a little more mainstream that people aren't like trepidation, drilling holes in
Trepidation.
your head. So
What is that? We'll go back
well,
and
if
listen
you
to it
want
and
to
you'll
know
find out. Yeah.
if you want to know about holes in your head, I've got a story for you.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my gosh. No, but I'm really excited about this. I've got some good topics I know you're gonna like, and I can't wait for everyone to listen to yours as well because you've got some really good
Awesome.
ones too. You got
Yes.
some juggernauts.
I'm super excited. Yep. Super excited. And
Speaking
so
of juggernauts, I think you are the juggernaut and you
that's
need to go first today.
let's
Can you
do it.
handle that?
Let's do it. Yep, yep. And I'm gonna start it off with a bang, y'all.
Oh, I can't
Something
wait.
that's near and dear to my heart. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna take a little trip down nostalgia lane, if you will. And
Okay.
today we're gonna be talking about one of the most beloved educational programs of all time, Reading Rainbow. That's right, y'all.
Yes.
That's right, y'all.
Yes.
So
I
if you
love
grew
this.
up in like the 80s, 90s, or even early 2000s, chances are
Yeah.
you've heard that theme song once or twice. Take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow.
Rainbow.
That's
Sorry, I was
right.
trying to back you up there.
Thank you. Thank you. But Reading Rainbow was way more than just, a catchy song. It shaped how millions of kids thought about books, imagination, and learning. So today, let's dive into where it came from, how it worked, and why it mattered so much, and whatever happened to it, right?
Mhm.
So, Reading Rainbow first premiered on PBS in 1983. That's an excellent year.
Why is that, Billy?
That's right. It's the year of Billy, right?
Yeah.
And it's also the year of Reading Rainbow. So it was created by a nonprofit organization called WNED in Buffalo, New York. The goal was simple but very powerful. They wanted to encourage kids to love reading, not just learn how to read. And that's where the big difference was. Because at that time, a lot of educational shows focused more on like phonics and like basic literacy skills. Reading Rainbow took a different approach. Instead of drilling kids on like letters and sounds, it focused on showing how fun and exciting books could be. The show was aimed at kids ages 4 to 8, but really and honestly, it hooked a lot older kids as well, and even
It did.
adults. And then there was the host, LeVar Burton, one of my favorite human beings on the face of the planet.
Such a good guy.
Yes, he became the face of Reading Rainbow from the very beginning. You might recognize the name because he was a famous actor as well. It might be because he played Kunta Kinte from Roots, or a little TV show. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, of Star Trek Next Generation, right?
What? Yeah.
What?
He was big on
Do you-
that show, yeah.
Do you remember like he had these like really cool, like like the glasses over his eyes,
Yeah.
like iconic.
Mhm.
So I knew him from my grandma's a huge Trekkie, and so
Oh, really?
she would
Okay.
always watch it. So we watched it a lot, and so I was like, he's on both Star Trek and Reading Rainbow. But for a whole generation of kids, he was simply the guy who told us about cool books. Burton brought warmth, curiosity, and genuine excitement to the show. He never talked down to kids. He treated them like smart, capable learners who just needed a little spark, right, to fall in love with reading. He once said that Reading Rainbow was the most meaningful work of his life, and it shows. He wasn't just hosting a TV show, he was building a relationship with the audience. Each episode of Reading Rainbow followed a pretty simple formula, right? First, he would introduce the theme of the show. It might be dinosaurs, space, friendship, cooking. Could be any number of topics, right? It kind of sounds like our podcast, right?
That's right. He was doing all the everything.
That's right. Gosh, the originator, I guess, if you will.
The originator, yeah.
Then the show would feature a children's book related to the theme. The book was either read aloud or summarized with illustrations, and it was sometimes read by famous actors or kids themselves. So after that, Burton would go on real-world adventures to connect the topic to the theme. If the book was about baking, he would visit a bakery. If it was about animals, he might go to the zoo or like a wildlife center. These segments helped kids connect the stories to real-life experiences. Finally, the show would end with recommendations from books. These kids would appear on screen and they would talk about their favorite book that was related to that theme. This was a huge part because it showed kids that other kids loved reading too. And then, of course, it would always close with Burton saying his famous line, "But you don't have to take my word for it," right? That's just like nostalgia. It's just like a wave of nostalgia, right?
Yeah, it does. It kind of gives me like the goosebumps hearing
Right.
that.
I mean, like, honestly, like, that's like my childhood, right? Oh my goodness.
Let me say something here. Could you imagine if Amazon was around back then, how the books that he recommended would have been like number one on the charts?
They would go off. Yes, they would go off.
It would have been, yeah. It's funny because there wasn't anything we could see back then as far as tracking of it. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
I guess the biggest thing was, it would be hard to find at your library because it would be the first one checked out.
Oh, that's true. You're like, dang it.
It's like, it goes back to the video store mentality that we talked about.
Oh yeah.
Dang
Library. I can tell a story about libraries another day. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They get ambitious.
Yeah. But Reading Rainbow was a massive success. It ran for over 23 years, from 1983 to 2006, and produced over 150 episodes. It won 26 Emmy Awards, which is incredible for a children's program. It also received the Peabody Award and countless other honors. But the real impact was not cultural, it was critical. Teachers used this in the classrooms. Parents trusted it. Kids looked forward to it, and it made reading feel cool in a way that very few shows have ever done before. A lot of adults today credit Reading Rainbow in helping them become a lifelong reader. And you're looking at this kid right here. For some kids, it was their first exposure to books beyond school assignments. And let's talk a little bit now about the theme song. Because you can't mention Reading Rainbow without that. And
yeah, you have to sing the song every time.
That's right. And you might not know this, fun fact. It was originally sung by who? Do you know?
No, I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. Shaka Khan.
No
That's
way.
Right. Yes, she was the original singer of that beautiful song that just started off that episode. It encouraged kids to explore, to imagine, to discover new worlds through books. And once you heard it, it was stuck in your head forever, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
even today, you'll hear people's, butterflies in the sky. I can go twice as high. It just kind of nostalgia just overflows in your brain,
It
right?
does. Takes you right back.
And so why did this show end? Because it was so popular and successful, right?
Mhm.
Well, the show stopped producing new episodes in 2006, and the main reason was because of funding, of course.
No, of course.
Reading Rainbow was really expensive to make because it involved like local shoots, animation, guest stars, full production crews, and as a public television, show, like their budgets tightened, it was harder to
Oh, yeah.
sustain. So another big factor was around that time, schools changed the way they taught how to read. The rise of standardized tests and
Yeah.
phonic-based instructions made it harder to justify this show that focused more on motivation than mechanics, if you will. And so, even though reruns continued throughout the years, the end of new episodes marked the close of the era. In the early 2010s, LeVar tried to bring back Reading Rainbow in a new form. In 2014, he started a Kickstarter campaign to create a Reading Rainbow app, an online platform.
Okay.
And the response was unbelievable. The campaign raised over $6 million, making it one of the most successful Kickstarters of all time.
Did you say $6 billion?
$1 million.
Okay, I'm
Yep.
like 6 billion. Holy.
Oh no, not 6. Oh man, that would be kind of impressive if it made $6 billion. No, 6
That's what I was saying.
million.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah, but it still showed like
Yeah.
people clearly loved Reading Rainbow and they wanted
Yeah.
it back. But unfortunately, people couldn't play well together, and legal disputes over the rights of Reading Rainbow's name and
Oh, come
brand
on.
caused it to shut down, and the app was discontinued in 2020. So the fact that millions of people donated to this show just
Yeah.
shows how much this show still resonates with the people.
Oh yeah.
Even after Reading Rainbow, LeVar Burton has continued to be the champion of literacy, right? He started a podcast called LeVar Burton Reads, where he reads short stories for adults because,
Okay.
all these kids that grew up on it are now adults, right? But he is like a vocal advocate for libraries, education, equal access to books. In many ways, he has become a symbol of the power of reading for itself. For millions of people, his voice is forever associated with curiosity, kindness, and imagination. So why are we still talking about a kids show that ended almost 20 years ago? It's because Reading Rainbow did something amazingly rare. It made learning feel joyful. It did not treat reading like a chore or an obligation. It treated it like an adventure. In a world full of screens and apps and endless distractions, that message is more important than ever. This show taught kids that the books you could take anywhere with you, the stories mattered, and that your imagination had value. And honestly, those lessons are just as important to adults as they are to kids. Reading Rainbow was not just a TV show, it was a gateway to books, a gateway to curiosity, a gateway to lifelong learning. If you ever watched it as a kid, it probably left a mark on you, whether you realize it or not. And if you're raising kids today, the spirit of Reading Rainbow still is something worth passing on. Encouraging curiosity, making reading fun, showing that learning is not just about grades or tests, it's about wonder. So next time you pick up a book, maybe take a second and hear that old theme song in your head. Take a look. It's in a book, and you don't have to take my word for it.
Or my word for it. We just go back and
That's
forth for an hour.
Or my
Or his word.
But no, like Reading Rainbow, like I don't know if I've ever shared this or not, but as a young kid, I had an extreme problem learning how to read.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't know if it was like an undiagnosed form of dyslexia or,
Oh, yeah.
or whatever, but it was so bad that the only reason I passed the first grade was because I was bigger than most of the kids in my grade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I got put into special education because I had such a hard time learning how to read, and I was in special ed through the end of 6th grade,
Okay.
just to have that extra,
Yeah, that's your
um,
time. Yeah.
extra time to learn to read. And I can remember as a kid watching this show and just loving it, and it just instilled something in me, um, about stories and about reading,
Yeah.
and it was beautiful. And my kids watched it, when they were younger as well, and we still find episodes and watch those as well. And I'm in it just as much as they
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
and so, oh my goodness gracious, I wanted to share this story because, gosh, it's so special to me. So,
When you told me about that one, I was like, banger.
yep.
Reading Rainbow, man. Everybody knows that. Um, I think we had our kids watch it too when they were younger. I can't remember last time we had them watch it. Our kids are obviously older than your kids.
Mhm.
Um, and do you find now that when you watch it, does it feel like evergreen content or does it feel dated because the books they recommend are like old books?
No, it's evergreen. At least, I remember the last one I watched, it was about composting. And he
Oh,
had
okay.
his daughter on that episode, and they talked about the importance of like composting and like making fertilizer. And then they went
Oh,
to
okay.
like a recycling like center and stuff like that. And you kind of see how things are repurposed. And they went to an artist that took old junk and made new art with it and just stuff like
Oh,
that. And
okay.
just kind of like the whole theme of being able to be reused and recycled, and how you
Oh,
could
that's
take
definitely
something that's
evergreen for
trash.
sure.
Yeah, and then you have your book, and it talked about the book. I remember was a book. The parents were divorced, and the little kid went to their father's house, and he showed them how taking an apple. Was it an apple? No, no, a potato. It was a potato, an old potato,
Mm,
and cutting it and planting it in the ground, and how it created all these other different potatoes, like how like you take this old one and chop it up, and then it becomes like all these new potatoes and stuff like that, and just
that's
kind of,
crazy.
yeah, it was just like things like you remember like that, and it's just sweet.
That's
And
so
that's
cool.
just one out of so many episodes. 150.
So next week we're just gonna do a watching party. We're gonna watch Reading Rainbow together, and we'll make comments on it live as we do that.
That's right. I like it.
All right. Well, good job on that one. That was really good. Thanks for sharing that one.
Yeah, man.
So for mine, first one is also nostalgia,
Ooh.
and I wanted to find something that other people could relate to besides holes in heads, things like that. And I do have to give Leslie a shout out because she actually picked this. I was talking to her about ideas like this one, and she pitched this one. So Leslie, I give you all the credit. Now I had to do the research and the work, but you gave me
Right.
the topic. So what I'm going to be talking about is the history of Nickelodeon.
Oh,
Mm, yes, we're going to talk about how a slime-covered kids channel quietly changed television forever. You
yes.
love Nick? You've been Nickelodeon fan growing up?
Oh, huge. Huge.
All right. Well, let's take you down the path of nostalgia, all about Nickelodeon. All right. So here we go. So there are TV networks, and then there's Nickelodeon, because Nickelodeon wasn't just something we watched. Nickelodeon was our babysitter, our best friend, a personality, and for a lot of us, basically a third parent. So if you grew up any time from the late 80s to the early 2000s, Nickelodeon just didn't entertain you, it raised you. So today, we're doing the history of Nickelodeon, where it came from, how it exploded, why it felt different than anything else on TV, and how slime somehow became the most powerful branding tool of a generation.
That's right.
There we go. Let's get into it. The very weird beginning, 1977 through 79. So Nickelodeon didn't start as Nickelodeon. In fact, it didn't even start as a kids channel. Back in 1977, Warner Cable launched a channel called Pinwheel, aimed at preschoolers. It was slow, experimental, artsy, and honestly just kind of strange. Then on April 1st, 1979, Pinwheel was officially rebranded as Nickelodeon. Now, here's a fun fact. The name Nickelodeon comes from early movie theaters in the early 1900s. Did you know this?
I did know this. Yeah.
nickel for the 5-cent admission, and Odeon meaning theater. So there's how you got the name Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
So right out of the gate, the channel's name was already a throwback. At first, Nickelodeon wasn't flashy. It didn't have cartoons all day. It didn't even broadcast 24 hours a day. It actually aired educational content like Reading Rainbow. No, I'm just kidding. It aired educational content, low budget shows, and imported programs. And for a while, it was just there. It just kind of existed. But then something happened. This is when Nickelodeon starts to find its personality, or early mid 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
So in the early 1980s, Nickelodeon made a decision that would define it forever. What if we actually made a channel that felt like it belonged to the kids out there? Not educational TV for kids, not adult TV approved for kids, but TV that spoke directly to them.
Yep.
And by 1983, Nickelodeon started leaning into original programming, game shows, live action kids contests, and hosts who talk to kids, not down to them, which I think was such a big deal then.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1984, they launched Nick at Night, which played classic sitcoms for the parents at night, quietly solving the family TV war without anybody noticing at all.
Yep.
That one move helped Nickelodeon survive financially while building its kids brand during the day. It was very, very smart at that time. Then the color orange and the birth of slime. So let's talk about Nickelodeon's branding.
Yep.
Nickelodeon chose orange because it wasn't used by other networks. It felt loud, playful, and messy, and it stood out immediately. Then came the slime. Slime started on the Canadian show You Can't Do That on Television. I used to love that show, by the way, which Nickelodeon began airing in the early 1980s. So originally Slime was green because the producers thought it looked like the grossest thing they could possibly show on camera as far as the color goes.
Sure.
Yep. And Nickelodeon executives saw kids absolutely lose their mind over it and realized they found something very powerful. Slime became a badge of honor, a punishment, a celebration, and eventually the network's unofficial mascot.
Mm-hmm.
Getting slime meant you mattered, right? That was a big deal.
Right.
And then, mid to late 1980s, they introduced the game show era. So, before Nickelodeon became a cartoon powerhouse, it was the game show factory. That era gave us Double Dare. Come on, Double Dare. I could not wait to watch that show.
Yep.
Finders Keepers,
Mm-hmm.
Nick Arcade, and then one of their bigger hits, Legends of the Hidden Temple. I always thought that was so fun.
Yeah, it was super cool.
And when Double Dare, which debuted in 1986, became the highest rated show in Nickelodeon history at that time. Here's why the shows worked. Kids were the contestants, right? Adults weren't in charge at all. Mess was encouraged. Winning didn't always matter. These shows felt chaotic in the best way possible. Then everything starts to shift a little bit. They launched in the late 80s, they launched the motto, Nick Knows Kids. And they meant it. They did research. They listened to the focus groups. They let the kids vote. They let the kids host. They allowed shows to be weird, sarcastic, emotional, occasionally gross, and sometimes kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
And which, by the way, is exactly what being a kid is like. Then we go to 1990s, and they call this the golden era of Nickelodeon. So this is it. The era where people would say old Nickelodeon, right? As we talk about it now. In 1991, Nickelodeon launched Nicktoons, its first original animated programming block, and everything changed. This is where we talk about the OG Nicktoons. We have Rugrats. Huge.
Yep.
Then we have Doug. And one
Mm-hmm.
of my favorite, when I was growing up through high school, was the Ren and Stimpy show.
Yep.
Love Ren and Stimpy, because it was like they were pushing the edge of cartoons we'd never seen before, right?
Yep.
So with their original cartoons, this was revolutionary for them. These shows weren't shiny or safe. They were awkward, emotional, surreal, and deeply human. Rugrats showed childhood from a baby's point of view. Doug was painfully relatable, and Ren and Stimpy was absolutely unhinged. That's probably the best word for it, really.
Yeah, that is a great word for it.
Oh my gosh. Nickelodeon trusted kids to handle the weirdness, and the kids loved them for it. Then there were an explosion of hits. So once Nicktoons took off, Nickelodeon went on a legendary run. They had Hey Arnold, Rocko's Modern Life, this one, huge one, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yep.
Clarissa Explains It All.
Yep.
Keenan and Kel.
Mm-hmm.
All that and the
All
Adventures
that.
of Pete and Pete. I mean, does this not just give you a nostalgia punch to the gut? Like,
Oh,
it's insane.
Yes, my childhood.
Yeah. And actually, this is the early 2000s was our kids' childhood, watching Rugrats and all those kind of things. But here's a fun fact. Nickelodeon was the #1 rated cable network for kids for most of the 1990s, often beating the broadcast network Saturday morning cartoons. And that's huge.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon didn't just compete with Saturday mornings, it ended them. So, Snick and event television. Do you remember Snick?
Snick at Night, yeah.
It was Saturday nights on Nickelodeon.
Yep.
That was event TV.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where they highlighted shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Mm-hmm.
All that, and Keenan and Kel were on there.
Yep.
And this was when kids were allowed to stay up a little later and feel pretty cool about it, actually.
Yeah.
So then Nickelodeon nailed seasonal programming, Halloween marathons, summer blocks, Slime Time Live. I remember that one. It was that. And then one of their juggernauts is the Kids' Choice Awards.
Kids' Choice Awards, yep.
Yeah. So speaking of which, the Kids' Choice Awards, where adults lost complete control of anything, they had no help in doing anything. The Kids' Choice Awards launched in 1988. They were chaos, and that was the point. Kids voted, kids decided, and kids got to slime celebrities. It was so fun seeing that, having the celebrities come on and they got to slime them. It was so cool.
Oh, man.
And it was one of the first award shows where adults weren't pretending kids didn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And watching a famous actor get slimed, that felt like power to the kids doing that.
Yep.
Then 1999 comes. SpongeBob changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
So SpongeBob SquarePants came along in 1999. Originally expected to be a modest hit, SpongeBob became a global phenomenon. It boosted Nickelodeon's ratings into the stratosphere and became one of the most successful animated franchises in television history. It also marked a shift. Nickelodeon leaned heavily into SpongeBob, sometimes too heavily, some people say, and the channel slowly moved away from the experimental edge it had had at one point. But the 2000s come along, right? Still big, but different. They brought shows like hits like this, like Fairly Odd Parents, that was huge, Danny Phantom, Drake and Josh, iCarly, which was a massive hit. And these shows were popular, polished, and funny, but the tone was different, right?
Yep.
More sitcom, it had more of a formula, it was less weird. But the internet had changed everything, right? YouTube had changed everything. Kids changed everything. And Nickelodeon, like all networks, had to adapt. Nickelodeon mattered because it trusted kids, it respected their emotions, and let them be messy, loud, awkward, and smart all at the same time. And it didn't rush them to grow up at all. It treated childhood like it was something worth celebrating, not correcting. And that's powerful. Nickelodeon wasn't just a channel. It was a sense of humor. It was a vibe, a shared language, and a generation's emotional scrapbook. And even if the channel isn't what it used to be, the memories still hit the same. Because once Nickelodeon gets into your brain, you never really outgrow it. You just stop getting slimed. And that is the history of Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon. Nick. Nickelodeon. That's right.
Yeah. What were some of your shows that you absolutely loved from Nickelodeon? Like, what was your hit?
Gosh. Okay, so we love Pete and Pete. I remember watching Pete and Pete. And you know the ice cream man on that that had the he was actually an ice cream cone. He went on a big trip across the country, right? And it had showed pictures of him from all these different places. But one of the places he went to was Biloxi, Mississippi. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like home. And so that always was like, it was so cool as a kid watching that. We loved Ren and Stimpy.
Oh my gosh.
And what would you do?
Yeah.
Double Dare. My friend actually got to be in the audience on one of those shows hosted by Mark Summers.
Yeah.
And I remember
Mark
watching
Summers was like a game show host pimp back in the day, man. He was running things.
So it's always been like a life goal of mine to be slimed, right? And they do have some all-inclusive resorts that are Nickelodeon themed, and they have water parks there where you can actually get slimed. There's one in the Dominican, and there's one in Mexico. So if you ever want to go there, we can get you there. Just give us a call. But it is my goal to go there and get slimed because that is like a lifelong dream of mine.
Yeah,
Um,
we actually went to in Florida, there used to be a Nickelodeon resort there in
yes, there
Orlando,
used. Yep. Mm-hmm.
and we went there, and they did a thing that was like the big sliming, even though it wasn't really slime, but you would
Yeah.
stay there, and this big bucket would drop on everybody,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and the kids absolutely loved it. Leslie lost her top, but that just goes
She was
Leslie's
losing
typical Florida.
pools of clothes a lot
She
at
has
pools.
problems in Florida with her clothes. I
Yeah, she
mean,
really does. There's been multiple stories of
this remember this classic tagline, "Leslie, your vagina is out."
That's right.
So if
That's
you wanna
right.
know where
I
that's
remember.
from, you're gonna have to go back and listen, but, that's a whole different story, but she ended up losing her top in the big downpour. So,
Oh,
well,
man.
but yeah, they took pictures of that, yeah. So getting slime was a big deal.
Um, Lily loves she'll, like, get on the YouTube and she'll talk in the remote. People getting slimed, and she'll just watch videos of all these people getting slimed, and
Oh,
one
that's
of my
cool.
favorites is at the Kid Choice Awards. I don't know what they did, but Katy Perry got slimed, but they had too much pressure. It was like a cannon and it knocked her over. It was insane. It was
Oh, I had no idea about
hilarious. Like
that.
she got almost knocked out because of how powerful the slime.
Oops.
Oopsie daisies.
Yeah. But with Nickelodeon, I mean, SpongeBob still today is a massive hit. You
Mhm.
know, I think a new SpongeBob movie just came out not too long ago.
That's right.
But reading these things when I did the research and then talking about them now again, like our kids were obsessed with Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom and Drake and
Yeah.
Josh and iCarly. Those things were on repeat in our house as our kids
Oh,
were
man.
growing up.
Yeah, that
So
I missed the boat on those. Mine was always like, "Hey Dude," and Clarissa Explains It All,
yeah,
and
Are You Afraid of the
um,
Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark was just, yes, that's peak childhood for me right there. Goodness
Yeah, I
gracious.
mean, they had so many great shows on there and
Salute Your
Nickelodeon.
Shorts. Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah, totally forgot about that.
Yep.
But yeah, they just did it, and we used to watch Rugrats constantly around here,
Yes.
and Doug, and obviously
Doug. Oh, can I tell you a really quick story?
what'd you
My
do?
really good friend Drew. We had this Halloween party,
Yeah,
and he was hosting it. He shaved his beard because he was going to be Doug. Like, he didn't
no
tell
way.
anybody. So he shaved his beard. It was a big deal for him. Like, and his wife was, Patty Mayonnaise. And
Oh,
and one of the couples that came, they knock on the door and he opens it, and here's this dude dressed as Quell Man, and
oh my
the
gosh.
look on Drew's face just falling, like, what the heck, dude? Like, I shaved my beard for this, and it was
Everybody
so
went all
funny.
in on this party,
Yeah,
jeez.
it was one of the best Halloween parties I've ever been to in my life, but he was so mad.
I shaved my beard for this.
I shaved my beard for this. Dang it.
You
He
suck.
still talks about this. It was 20 years ago. He still talks about it to
It
this
still
day.
haunts him.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, that's a little trip down memory lane for Nickelodeon. Big time, big time. So,
Yep.
Billy, what do you have for your final story today?
Okay, so for this one's going to be really special. It's somebody we've
Can't
talked
wait.
about on this show multiple times, and oh, guys, like, if you love movies, if you are, if you just watch movies, you've heard, you might not know his name, but you have felt what he's created.
Yeah.
And so today I'm going to be talking about the history of the amazing John Williams.
Yes.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
y'all.
this is such a big. I don't know how you're tackling this in like 15 minutes because we
Right.
were supposed to do an entire episode on John
Yes.
Williams. And when Billy picked it, I was like, okay. I mean, I love
He's like-
John Williams. I was like, I don't know how he's going to get it all in there. So I'm excited to hear how you approach it.
Okay. Well, yep. So today we're talking about one of the most influential musicians in the last 100 years, not just like musicians.
Yeah.
This man, his music, even though you might not know his name. He's the reason your heart races when a shark is nearby. Doo-doo, 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 right? He's
Two
the
notes.
reason. Yeah. Oh my gosh, just two notes. Yeah, he's the reason you feel wonder when a boy lifts off on a bicycle. He's the reason for space battles, dinosaurs, wizards, superheroes. They all feel 10 times more epic because of this man, John Williams.
Oh.
So, John Williams was born in 1932. He's still alive today in New York City. Music was already in his blood from day one. His dad was a jazz drummer who played in big bands growing up, so he was constantly around music and instruments. When he was a teenager, his family moved to Los Angeles, and that move turned out to be huge for his future because it put him right in the heart of the film industry, right? So Williams studied piano and composition, and eventually went to Juilliard in New York City, that famous, one of probably the most prestigious music schools in the entire world. Early in his career, he worked as a studio pianist in Hollywood. He actually played piano on different movie soundtracks, including West Side Story. So he was the guy you heard playing on the piano on West Side Story. It's crazy. Before becoming John Williams, the legend, he was sometimes credited as Johnny Williams on smaller TV shows and throughout the 1960s. That changed in the 1970s. In 1974, Williams scored a movie called The Sugarland Express, which was directed by a young filmmaker named Steven Spielberg. Just a small director.
Just a small guy.
That partnership would become one of the greatest director-composer collaborations in film history, because then came 1975. And this is the year that Williams composed the music for Jaws. We kind of talked about it a little bit just a minute ago. 2 notes. Just 2 notes. But those 2 notes are now some of the most iconic and recognizable and terrifying pieces of music ever written. It's incredible. It's like a God-ordained thing in a Jaws terrifying shark.
It does. It evokes like fear and terror in you all at once.
It's so cool. It's so cool to see. But that simple, creeping rhythm completely changed how suspense worked in the movies. Like, suddenly, music was not just background noise; it was part of this actual storytelling.
Yeah. So anybody who's ever been in the water and is going dun 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 dun, you have violated so many copyright laws and stuff. Everybody owes him a lot of money for constantly doing that.
You got to give him $20 next time you see him, right?
Yeah, he needs the money.
Yeah. Jaws won his first Academy Award for Best Original Score, and it was totally worth it. Right after that, Star Wars came along.
What? I've never heard of that.
What? A little movie named Star Wars. 1977, George Lucas wanted a classic, old-school symphonic sound for his space movie, and Williams delivered something that felt timeless, heroic, and emotionally powerful. The main theme, the Force theme.
Oh man!
You could just you could just hear it. You got Princess Leia's theme. You have the Imperial March.
Yeah.
Of Star Wars. Dun 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 dun.
Man.
Dun,
how about
dun,
Star Wars
dun,
today now?
Dun, 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 dun. That music is, iconic. Doesn't even do it justice.
That's true.
The music helped make what Star Wars is today. That's part of its soul, is the music, and this man created all of that. It's hard to overstate how important that score was, and that score actually won him another Oscar, surprisingly, right?
Yeah, really.
And so it just kind of locked him into like this category of just epic composers.
He really helped George Lucas a lot by having that score. Without that, Star Wars isn't the same.
No, it's not. Like I said, it's the soul. It's the soul of the movie. But then comes the Spielberg era. So after Jaws and Star Wars, Spielberg and Williams became inseparable, right? They worked on Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, I love
which,
that movie.
The music in that movie is the actual language that the humans and aliens communicate through. But then in 1981, Tim, in 1981, dun 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 dun.
Oh man.
Dun 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 dun. Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. Just
Indiana freaking Jones, baby.
Oh my gosh. Just the sound of bravery, mystery, heroism, like all rolled up into one. I mean, he's already done Star Wars and now flipping Indiana Jones. Oh my gosh. And then in 1982, could you just imagine the scene of this little boy on his bicycle flying over a silhouette of a moon with a magical alien in his E.T. the extraterrestrial, in one of the most iconic movie scenes of all time.
Oh yeah.
He scored that sound, and it won him another Oscar.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, and then there's still others we're getting to. Over the years, he continues scoring for Spielberg with a little movie about dinosaurs.
Wait, what?
You might have heard the music in that, a little movie called Jurassic Park. And that same year, Spielberg and him did Schindler's List as well. Completely different, heartbreaking. And then in the 1990s, there was a little Christmas tune that he wrote that kind of became the score of our hearts. 1990, he wrote the main sound for Home Alone. I mean, that's
everything.
As a child, that when you hear that music, you think Christmas.
Absolutely.
This was in our lifetime, right? It has become a classic Christmas soundtrack. Where whether it's this Christmas music or this child that is fighting like burglars in his house and like the craziness and stuff, and then he would go on to score Hook with Robin Williams as Peter Pan is one of my favorite movies in the 1990s. To keep on going, we have Jurassic Park, we have Home Alone, Star Wars, E.T., all these other ones. Let's just mention a whole new generation. In 2001 comes Harry Potter.
Oh my
God. What you like that sound of Hegwood's theme song that you when you hear it you think of that little wizard. That is Harry Potter. That was created by John Williams.
This dude just kills it. Like
it's amazing. And I didn't even mention a certain superhero movie from 1978. A superhero that changed my life, one of my favorites. He's the composer that scored Superman.
Jeez.
I mean, he created all of these iconic and memorable. Like, I cannot stress enough the music that this man has created for this world,
right,
over these years is not just in movies, but just in music in general. Just like the soundtrack to our lives, and not to mention, you have Saving Private Ryan, right? 1998, he scored that, and there's a little sporting event that happens every 4 years, the Olympics. You might have heard of it.
Yeah, I heard of it before.
He created a theme song for the Olympics.
Night. I mean, this dude is just nonstop dropping hits. Bangers, like we said.
Yeah. So he's been nominated over 50 times and has won 5 Oscars, which puts him second to only Walt Disney in total nominations. He's won countless Grammys, Golden Globes, BAFTAs, Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Yeah.
He's the sound of childhood for a lot of people, including myself. Star Wars, Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Home Alone, E.T., Superman. The list goes on and on. I'm not even mentioning, just his composer, like his original music. And so I felt like it was important for me to share his story. We've talked about him multiple times and how much he's meant to both of us because our love of movies. And it just seems like every movie that we love he's attached to it some way, form, or fashion.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't think we'll ever see anything like him again in our lifetime.
Oh,
or
no.
maybe ever. John Williams, I mean, just for Star Wars alone, there's no better feeling than sitting in a theater and it's about to come on. Like,
yes,
it has the silence right before it cues on so loud, and the opening words scroll up the screen, and it just like vibrates through your body and gets you so pumped up. Like, it's just absolutely amazing. Now I want to listen to John Williams sets all day long today.
That sounds like an awesome time.
Actually, it does. I mean,
yeah,
because it evokes so many feelings and memories when you hear the music, right? Just like what music does for you anyhow. It just takes you back to a certain spot, and his things are legendary. Just the way, I mean, the talent to sit down there and watch a movie and then like, oh, I know I could tie this kind of music into this movie and bring it. I mean, to have that feeling, because I mean, it's unbelievable the things he did and still doing. It's just unreal.
When Steven Spielberg came over to dinner one night, he's like, "Hey, I want you to listen to this for Jaws." Like, they just were hanging out, and he's like, "This is my idea for," and he just plays those two notes. And at first, Steven's like, "What?" And he's like, "Just trust me on this." And it's been on ever since.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Hearing you go through all the different movies and things like that, it's just. It makes me want to watch all these movies, listen to the music. I got a lot to get done today. I've already said I was going to watch whatever. I forget what I said I was going to watch earlier. I need to watch this. I need to watch that. I need to go watch Reading Rainbow. Maybe I'll just get on the treadmill and I'll just be on there all day long.
That's like right. Get your steps in. Yep. Get your steps in.
Okay. All right. I'll take that bet. I'll report back.
All right.
That was great.
Thank you, sir.
You did good squeezing that in a short period of time.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot. But that was a good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to jump into our last story of history of today. And I was really sticking with nostalgia this week and into these different things we're talking about today. So are you ready to dive into some nostalgia with me, Billy?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Dive in. All right. Here we go. There was a time, a magical, sugar-dusted time, when Saturday mornings didn't mean errands, they didn't mean emails, they didn't mean having a calendar invite called soccer bring snacks at 8:07 a.m. Saturday mornings meant cartoons. And not casual, throw it on the background cartoons. I'm talking about a weekly ritual, a sacred block of time, the kind of tradition where your body woke up early on its own, no alarm, no parent, just pure instinct. Because if you slept in, you might miss the episode. And back then, there was no rewind, no streaming, or no I'll catch it later. If you missed it, you missed it. Mm-hmm. And the scarcity is part of what made it feel like the greatest thing ever created. Today, we're doing the history of the golden age of Saturday morning cartoons, how it started, when it peaked, and why it ruled so hard, and how it eventually faded into educational and informational era, which sounds nice, but also sounds like the government-issued pillow that's stopping all the fun. So let's get into it, right? Here we go. The ritual. Take you back there, Billy. Think about this.
Yep.
Pajamas, cereal, and a quiet strategy. So first off, this was a kid-controlled time slot, right? Saturday mornings were basically from about 8 a.m. to around 1 p.m. on the big broadcast networks. That window meant a couple of things. Parents got to sleep in, kids got to lock into the TV, and advertisers got a captive audience powered by Fruity Pebbles and chaos.
Yep, that's true.
That's about true. And your setup, it mattered. You sat too close to the TV that weighed roughly about the same size of a refrigerator. Right. You poured cereal that had no business being called breakfast. And you kept the volume low like you were sneaking into a museum because you didn't want your parents waking up and changing the channel to something horrible like the news.
The news.
So, let's talk about how Saturday morning the Saturday morning cartoons became a thing. So here's a key piece to the origin story of it all. by the mid-1960s, the big three networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC, all started treating Saturday morning like its own programming kingdom. And according to an overview of the genre's development, 1966 is widely noted as a turning point. It was the first year that all three major networks were running Saturday morning animation blocks as an intentional strategy. So you get this perfect formula, right? Kids are awake early, parents want peace, networks want ratings, advertisers want kids begging for stuff, which we did, and animation is relatively cheap compared to live TV. So boom, the Saturday morning cartoon block becomes a cultural institution. And a big part of it was also reruns, classic theatrical shorts, and older animated series that found new life on television. One of the biggest examples of this shift is the Bugs Bunny show.
Oh, man.
So Bugs Bunny, legend. It debuted in primetime on ABC on October 11th, 1960, which is wild to think about now, that reruns moved into ABC's Saturday morning lineup in August of 1962, where it helped cultivate that Saturday morning vibe for kids. And that's important because a lot of the characters weren't originally meant for kids the way we define now for shows. They were built to entertain broadly, and the TV reorganized them into a kid-centered experience. So here we go. The late 60s into early 70s, when everyone panicked about cartoon violence. I mean, think about where we're at today, but 60s, 70s cartoon violence, right? So there was a lot of 60s, 70s had a lot of superhero action stuff going on at the time, but parents groups started pushing back hard. Parents groups are always pushing against something. Doesn't matter if it's the 60s or 2020s or whatever. So a big one was the Action for Children's Television, also known as ACT, which targeted violent superhero cartoons and pressured networks and regulators. The group is credited with influencing networks to remove certain action-heavy titles by the start of the 1969-70 season, replacing them with lighter comedy fantasy stuff. And by 1972, most action programming had been removed from Saturday morning slots due to this pressure from this group. So if you've ever wondered why the vibe went from punching space monsters to a talking dog solving mysteries and running from a guy in a mask, that's part of it. So basically, America said less punching and more Scooby-Doo. All right. 1978, the moment that almost nuked the whole business. Here's what happened. There was a wild historical footnote. In 1978, the Federal Trade Commission was openly considering a ban on advertising during TV programming targeting preschoolers, plus severe restrictions on the kids' advertising. It ultimately didn't happen, but it shows how intense the backlash had got back then. But let's be honest, the cartoon block wasn't just entertainment, it was also the world's most effective please buy me this engine. So here we go. The 1980s, the golden toyic age. Now we hit the era because people, when you say Saturday morning cartoons, this is what people think of. The era where there was peak 1980s energy going on. And they weren't even just cartoons, they were brands. Let's talk about it. Shows like He-Man, Juggernaut, new movie coming out, this year, right? Masters
this
of the
year.
Universe.
Trailer just came out. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it did. Trailer was awesome. Transformers led to 10 billion cartoons and so many movie spinoffs and any more toys that you could ever dream of. Of course, there was G.I. Joe. Awesome. I love G.I. Joe so much. There were Thundercats, She-Ra, Voltron, and the list goes on, right? And these were often tied to toy lines, so directly that the show might as well have been a backstory for your action figures, which I think is kind of cool that they did that, right? They did the cartoons, and you can take the action figure and kind of play along in the storyline in your head that you just watched on TV that morning. And the thing was, nobody cared because these shows were freaking awesome. Then there was an educational intermission that secretly kind of snuck in a little bit. So let's talk. It wasn't all toy commercials all the time. Networks also leaned into educational segments like they always do, especially as pressure increased, like Schoolhouse Rock. Oh, that was a classic one. Which became iconic partly because it was actually catchy and didn't feel like homework at all. And let's be real, most of us learned more about conjunctions from a cartoon than we ever did in school.
Conjunction, what's your function?
I was going to ask you to sing it, but you were already there, baby. I love it. Well, the 1990s, the prestige era begins, right? So if the 80s were the toy-driven explosion, the 90s were the cartoons started getting good. Like the storytelling evolved, the writing got sharper, the tone got bolder. The era gave us a lineup that felt like a step toward modern animation. So superhero cartoons that carried real mood, comedy that slipped adult jokes past the radar, and stories with arcs, not just reset button episodes. What are you laughing about? The adult jokes?
Yeah.
They're still today, right? They sneak them in
100%.
kids movies all the time so the parents can laugh along
Yep.
with it as well. And also I did like the thing that there were story arcs. It wasn't just like a reset button every week on a
Right.
thing. I like the story arc, yeah.
Mhm.
And it's also when competition got serious. Cable was rising, and that mattered because cable didn't want to have to wait until Saturday morning. They could have cartoons on all day long, right? So speaking of that, the Cartoon Network launched in 1992, and that kind of gave the 24/7 access, started siphoning off the specialness of the Saturday morning, which I did not like.
Right.
So here's what happened. There was something that took over, and it was called E&I. So this is where part of the story kind of turns into a documentary voiceover kind of thing. In 1990, Congress passed the Children's Television Act, basically saying broadcast TV should better serve children's educational needs. Then in the mid-late to early 90s, the FCC created clear expectations around educational programming. By January 1997, rules associated with that was often called the 3-hour rule. That went into effect, guidelines that pushed broadcasters toward airing about 3 hours per week of what they called educational and informational, which they called EI, into children's programming in order to help with license renewal processing. Yeah, so what happened? Cartoons didn't disappear overnight, they got replaced. Networks started swapping out traditional cartoon blocks for EI shows, educational ones, teen live action stuff, weekend news, and programming that didn't attract the same toy-driven dollars for advertisements as they did before.
Mhm.
And once again, the profit engine changes, and then there's a new whole vibe that's starting to emerge here. So this is why I had to do this story second. So, within its first month on air, SpongeBob SquarePants reportedly overtook Pokemon as the highest-rated Saturday morning children's series on television, with an average national Nielsen rating of 4.9 among children ages 2 to 11, which is described as about 1.9 million viewers.
Wow.
That is crazy. You know, it's huge, not just because SpongeBob became SpongeBob, but because it shows how the Saturday morning crown was moving away from the broadcast networks and towards cable brands like Nickelodeon.
Mhm.
Some of the final nails, Fox starts to pull the plug on things, and you want a clean end of the era moment, right? Fox ended its nearly 2-decade commitment to kids animation programming when the 4Kids TV block ended on December 27th, 2008. And Fox said that the time period wasn't viable anymore due to the competition from the cables networks that we just talked about, like Nickelodeon. So by the late 2000s, it wasn't just fading, it was officially being declared a bad business decision. That hurts, not because business decisions are evil, but business decisions never care about your cereal bowl feelings.
Right. Yeah.
And I had a lot of cereal bowl feelings back in the day, Billy.
Yeah.
And so here's the part that gets people. We don't only miss the shows, we miss the structure, right? Saturday morning cartoons were a weekly moment where nobody could reach you, nobody expected anything from you, and joy just showed up on a schedule and stayed for hours. And because it was limited, it felt like it mattered. Now everything is available all the time, and weirdly, that makes it less special, right? We got infinite content, but we lost one magic block of time where the world basically said, kids, this morning is yours.
Yep.
And Saturday morning cartoons just weren't TV. They were comfort, community, a shared childhood language, and a weekly reminder that fun was coming. And even though the golden age is gone, it lives on every time you hear a theme song and your brain lights up like it's 1989 again. And so here's to the cartoons, here's to the cereal, and here's to the feeling of waking up early, not because you had to, but you couldn't miss it. That was the golden age of Saturday morning cartoons.
Mhm.
Oh man, that story, reading it and going over some of I didn't list every cartoon obviously, but those were like magical times back in the day. Like, what were some of your favorites that you watched?
I tell you, my number one Saturday morning show was actually Inside the NBA
Oh yeah,
with
talked
Ahmad
about
Rashad. Like that was on like towards the end of the morning,
it was.
and that was during my childhood was basketball obsessed, as
Yeah.
I've talked about quite a bit on this show. And so Inside the NBA that was my jam. That was my jam. 90s NBA
Yeah.
was the best era. And gosh, that was my Saturday morning show right there.
Oh,
But
what about
going back to
cartoons?
cartoon wise, there was actually, I don't remember the name of this, but I watched it all the time.
What was it?
There was a show, and it had Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson, and
Oh yeah.
another. Who else was the other person that was with
Um,
them?
it was like a
It
different
might have,
sport, right?
yeah,
Somebody else.
but they were like superheroes. They came together as a team. I remember watching that quite a bit.
I don't remember the name of that, but I remember that
But
concept of them coming together.
yes,
But the name
yeah, I just always,
eludes me at the moment. Yeah,
I just remember, that, and of course you have your classics, your
like the He-Man,
Transformers and
the
your
Transformers.
He-Man. He-Man was that was probably the first thing that I ever loved. Like, I have all these He-Man action figures. When I was little, I gave myself a
Yeah,
He-Man haircut when I grabbed a hold of some scissors. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and so He-Man was and so like yesterday when the trailer comes out for the new He-Man movie, and I was talking to Michelle about it last night, and I was like, I'm probably going to go on opening night no matter
Oh,
what,
for sure.
even though it has Jared Leto in it, and still, I'm going to go
Yeah,
opening night.
yeah.
He-Man is a special part of my childhood. So
It's funny
yeah,
with He-Man, just specifically, people either go in two camps. They're in the He-Man camp with all the good guys, or you're with Skeletor and the bad guys.
yeah.
And those don't cross all that often. So, but yeah, Saturday morning was a special. You know, actually, what we used to do is we'd watch Saturday morning cartoons, and then I think right around noon or so,
Mhm.
it was on the USA Network, and it would switch to WWF. So you
Oh
got the
yes.
wrestling going on then too on Saturday.
Absolutely. Saturday morning wrestling. Yes, I do remember
Yeah.
that as well.
And that was huge. That was so
It
big. I
was.
remember we loved watching the wrestling after that as well.
Man,
And then we were
golly.
shoot out of the house. Yeah. Go out and do something. Go and get. Yeah.
Don't get.
Yeah. I'm gonna rough talk you. Um, I don't know what we're saying.
Every episode
Anyhow,
it makes its way.
yeah, somehow there's Jim again. But yeah. So yeah, Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, it was big nostalgia for me and going over the history of those. I really didn't like going into all the nonsense about why you had to do this, do that, all the regulations, but it was part of it and how they changed everything, right?
Yes, yes.
They always want us to have some kind of educational content. We didn't want that. We just wanted sugary cereals and
And
fantasy
watch
cartoons.
our
That's
card.
all we needed.
Let me watch my shows, my programs. Gosh.
You're programmed. I'm watching my program, honey. Come back
I'm watching
later.
my program.
What are we doing?
I don't even
Oh man. Well, I had a blast with this episode today. Like I loved your two topics. I love doing mine. It
Mhm.
was a lot of nostalgia today. And I hope you guys listening felt that and that took you back.
Yes.
Um, one thing we can put out this week in the group is like what was your favorite 80s cereal that you ate on
Oh,
Saturday
come on.
mornings? Or every morning,
Yes.
maybe. Even I want to know. Maybe Billy, you can do a TikTok about it. Like,
Sounds like a
let's
plan.
dial into the '80s cereals,
Yep.
how bad they were for you, but they tasted so good and nobody
So
cared.
good.
So,
Yep. Oh my gosh.
that's so funny. So Billy, if they do want to tell us about their stories and how they tied into Reading Rainbow or
Mhm.
cartoons, Nickelodeon, John Williams, where can they find us at and how can they interact?
Yeah, head on over to Facebook and type in All the Everything Podcasts. That's going to be our main hub for community. Leave us a post, drop us a comment, leave us a follow, a like. Just let us know you're there. We're also on Instagram. We're on the TikTok. We're on the YouTube. We're out there. Just search All the Everything Podcast, and you'll see these two faces right here and there.
Yeah, and while you're out there, please leave us a 5-star rent review on Apple Podcast.
Yes.
Please, we know we have tons of listeners, We need you all to help us out. Give us some more reviews so we can get even more listeners and open this catalog to so many different people, because we talk about so many different things each week. It's kind of crazy. We would really appreciate that. Thank you again for joining us this week for yet another amazing episode of All the Everything Podcast. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.